part 2 of Glenn Greenwald's essay here. The healthcare bill is one of the most flagrant advancements of this corporatism yet, as it bizarrely forces millions of people to buy extremely inadequate products from private insurance industries, regardless of whether they want it or not, or worse, whether they can afford it or not. In other words, it uses the power of government, the force of law, to give the greatest gift imaginable to this industry, tens of millions of coerced customers, many of whom will be truly burdened by having to turn their money over to these corporations. And thus, it is a truly extreme advancement of this corporatist model. As I've noted before, again, this is Glenn Greenwald talking, this growing opposition to corporatism, to the virtually absolute domination of our political process by large corporations, is one of the many issues that transcend the trite left-right drama, endlessly used as a distraction. The anger amongst both the left and the right towards the bank bailout and towards lobbyist influence in general illustrates this. To put it more bluntly, on a widening range of issues, Obama's critics to the right say he's engineering a government takeover of the private sector, while his critics to the left accuse him of promoting a corporate agenda of the public sector. They can't both be right. And these critics would take the country, of course, in completely different directions, given the chance. But the tactical convergence is there if they choose to pursue it. This supposedly irreconcilable difference identifies more semantics than substance. It's certainly true that healthcare opponents on the left want more expansive plans, while opponents on the right want the opposite. But the objections over the mandate are largely identical. It's a coerced gift to the private health insurance industry that underwrites the Democratic Party. The same was true over opposition with the bailout, objections to lobbying influence, and so on. And most of all, the growing anger that Washington serves the interests of the financial elites at the expense of average citizens and the working class. Whether you call it a government takeover of the private sector or a private sector takeover of government, it's the same thing. A merger of government power and corporate interests which benefits both of the merging entities, the party in power, and the corporations, at everyone else's expense, is dangerous. Growing anger over this is rooted far more in an insider-outsider dichotomy over who controls Washington in the first place. And it is not the standard conservative liberal ideologies or splits thereof from the 1990s. It's true that people who are angry enough to attend the Tea Parties are being exploited and misled by the GOP operatives and right-wing polemicists, but many of their grievances about Washington and how it is run have substance. the Democratic Party has no answers for them because it's dependent and supportive of that corporatist model. That's why they turn to Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh. What could a Democratic Party dependent upon funding and subservient to the same very interests even offer them? So that's the question and the division that Glenn Greenwald was talking about. I'll post several links, interesting links to some other articles pertaining to this very essay. And thanks for listening. I know the situation is bleak, you know. I'm very cynical about the whole thing, but we can't. Cynicism, you know, by itself doesn't solve anything. So the Democratic Party is essentially destroying itself. And so are the Republicans, by the way. So some alternative has to be found. Good night.